Hey, beautiful souls. I am so excited to dig in today. Today we have Caley Rose, and I can't wait to dig in with her today. She is this just incredible light being that just has so much wisdom that she's going to bring into the space. But there's also so much that we can learn from her as being a person that's really following her passion and her purpose. So just to give you a little bit of background about Caley. So she is a Billboard charting singer, songwriter, and founder and CEO of Music with a Message, you guys. I cannot wait to dig into that. It's so powerful. And there's so much wisdom that comes from what she teaches in the space. So her music, just so you guys know, has been featured in Top 40 Radio, NPR, Forbes, ABC, Fox. I mean, it's been everywhere, commercials, film. So she is someone who is really dialed into her passion and purpose, and it's catching on like wildfire. Like people are really digging in and loving the music that she creates, because it's coming from her soul, which is so important. We talk about that all the time in this space. When we create from our soul, people can't help but be magnetized towards that. There is a vibration to authenticity. So I can't wait to dig into all of this today. So what's so beautiful and so empowering about Caley is that all of this Music with a Message, came from being bullied in middle school, right? And so it's so empowering that what she's doing is she's now, through finding her own self-esteem and empowering women and students to do that, she's now teaching women and students to do that, which is so powerful. And so I'm just so grateful that you found your deep calling in this space, that you're really allowing through your own development of confidence and ability for others to know and to have the tools to build that confidence and to really start to prevent that bullying. So I'm just so excited to have you here, Caley. I know she's now on this like cross-country music tour. She's got her husband, her 4-year-old daughter, baby on the way, and her beautiful cockapoo. So I can't wait to dig into you today and just to see what comes through. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. Should we start this podcast with me crying tears?
I work. The healer in me of like, let it roll. The healer, let it roll. Yeah, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to dig in. And I would love to, let's dial it back a little bit, because now it's all the things you're doing now, but I'd love to even dial it back to that moment in time where you were like, okay, wait, I am living what I thought was supposed to be my dream. I am surrounded by cockroaches. Like you're looking around, you're noticing like, this is not it. Was there a moment that had you realizing, oh, I think I'm living someone else's dream, or just this isn't it? Like, was there some sort of divine intervention? Like, what did that look like when you started to look around and realize this isn't actually what I think I want and my soul's deepest desires?
Oh yeah, I knew it wasn't what I wanted. So I was working at Starbucks for a time. And my mom and grandma liked me to mention I went to an Ivy League college. Starbucks seemed like the safe choice, and I knew they gave healthcare, and I wanted to be with this responsible individual. And I had tried real estate for a while, and that didn't feel good to me. I just never liked that you could put so much work into something and get nothing out of it, or you could put an hour's worth of work into something and get something out of it. I'm a hardworking person, so I want to see rewards for my effort. Then I tried Starbucks, and every single time I logged into work at Starbucks, my brand new voiceover agent would call me and be like, "We need you here now." But like, I have responsibility. I can't come here for an audition. I'm so sorry. And it was, the universe, God, whatever you choose to call it, tapping and saying, you are in the wrong place. How many times do I need to show you this until you listen? And then it was this moment of being in a basement of Starbucks at 2 a.m, exhausted, washing with these strong chemicals that felt just so nasty to be around. And then a cockroach, my one thing in life that can't handle, walked by, and I was like, oh,
yeah.
Louder, I hear the message, I get it. But it felt so terrifying to jump into that unknown, because voiceover was something I didn't know would catch me lovingly and land in my lap in that way. But it did, and I've made my living that way for so many years before I finally got up the courage to really pursue music. Because at the time I thought, okay, I'm using my voice, this is what I really want to do for a living. But I didn't have music in my life, so I was missing something that fed my soul, thinking that I was, living my dream by using my voice.
Yeah. So what I think is powerful that you're speaking into is it's all breadcrumbs. So it's like that stepping stone of like, you're like, okay, I went to school. I tried, real estate. I tried Starbucks. And both of these were kind of like not working. And then I led me to voiceover. So I felt the intuitive ping, but really what that was leading me even further into was using my voice. in ways that really nourished me. So it's like the both and, because I know you dabble in both still, but it's this like
Yeah.
this sudden like realization of like, oh yeah, everything is a little stepping stone. Follow the little breadcrumbs, because I think so often we're like, I have to find the golden ticket, and then we put so much pressure on our purpose when it can really be like as simple as the cockroach is here and this is a full body no for me. So that's a clue that I need to find something else. Oh, every time I come here, I'm getting pinged here and this one feels more interesting. I'll start to follow that. So I love what you're speaking into. It's just like following the breadcrumbs and seeing where it leads you. That's so powerful.
Isn't it so funny? Because I've told that story so many times. And the thing that you just pointed out, which always leave it to Christina Deering to staying so aligned and enlightened. I, for a while, kind of kicked myself thinking, well, I should have known to follow music, but I was, voiceover led me to realize that I wanted to work in recording studios in music. So I read The Secret, which people can believe what they want to about. It helped me. And I saw myself in a recording studio instead of on a Broadway stage. And that led me to voiceover, which then led me to music. So I needed that stepping stone. We all need those stepping stones, and don't beat yourself up for the stepping stones because we weren't the top step yet,
Absolutely. And it's almost like it's like us playing with our nervous system too, where it's like, okay, I need the stepping stone and I want to neutralize that. And then I want another stepping stone and I want to neutralize that. Because sometimes when we go too far too fast, that's when it's like the one hit wonder and we never hear from the person again, where they're just like, this is too much, And it's this idea of like suddenly like it's perfectly divinely aligned, whatever way our soul desires to. Some people are like, let's go. I want to go here. I want to go fast. I want the one hit wonder. And then I want to build on top of that. But there is something to be said about balancing and starting to really harmonize your nervous system as you start to scale. That's a really important part of building your now 6-figure business to what it is today. It's like, that's what we need to calm the nervous system to be able to handle at the capacity in which we desire to.
That's so, so, so interesting. Yes, you're right.
Love it.
I like the neutralizing of each stage, because I'm so impatient all the time that I'm like, no, of course I want it all now.
Right.
That is important to neutralize in that way. And yeah, when I started Music with a Message last year, I never thought that I would be getting the lessons that I had learned last year. It suddenly started me on the journey of accepting wealth and being appreciative, not just appreciative, but being so okay with receiving and knowing my worth, because I had built wealth before through voiceover, but I always felt guilty about it. I just remember being like 26 and driving my Audi convertible, and people would compliment me on it. And I'd be like, oh, I don't know what excuses I made, but I really I hated that car in a way, because I felt, I don't know, too flashy, too undeserving of it. So that's been a journey.
It always is. And what I think is so cool is everything's a mirror. And so it was like witnessing that part of yourself and noticing, okay, it's like this felt it, because I'm assuming the car felt in alignment, but then the feedback you were getting made you a little nervous about it. Is that kind of where you were at?
Yeah, I felt very excited to purchase it, but then give me attention. I want everyone to have abundance. I think I feel very responsible for other people, but that's a weird thing, right? And so I felt badly because I wanted everyone to have great things. Yeah. And it's funny, the one friend that I'm thinking, now I know he's doing really well as an actor. So good, Yeah. Maybe fired him.
Absolutely. And what's powerful too is like when we start to recognize those parts of ourselves that are like, I remember being like, I want to like, oh my God, it's amazing up here. Everyone come, and like trying to pull everyone up. And they're like, I'm not ready, biatch. Like, leave me alone, So it's this idea of like realizing like, oh, I can just be in my embodied state and invite people to rise here if they desire, versus trying to pull people up, because then that's holding me back. Oh, so I love that now you're like, ooh, he did it himself. Now he is where he is. And I've learned so much on the journey too. So I think that's so empowering to just witness that within yourself, of like, everywhere we are on the journey is just a mirror of what we get to heal next. Like my triggers, I'm like, oh, that's the thing I get to heal next for the next level in my business. Okay, noted. And I think that's what's so powerful. None of it's right or wrong. It's just like, okay, that's my personal next thing I get to actually heal to expand into my purpose. Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you pick like a theme for the year or a word? Do you do that?
So it's funny because I did this year, but I also feel like I quantum leap so quickly that they become outdated. So I almost like have like a theme for like the week, which is kind of funny. Like, I don't even remember. I picked 3 words at the beginning, and I feel like for me, it's more about just being really present to what am I experiencing right now in this moment. Let that be the thing that I heal to then guide me to what I ultimately desire. So it's less about the word and more about like here's what I see, here's the vision that I see. Like you were saying, I see myself in the recording studio. That feels so juicy. And now let me connect with what's in the way of what I want. Like, what are the little stories I'm telling myself that I get to heal next? And so that's kind of my journey. And then every week it changes, which is kind of, yeah.
I like that permission too, because so many of us, it used to be resolutions, but now I know more people are on this word of the year, theme of the year train. But maybe I'm done with my words. They kind of like to be, quite frankly, because they've been teaching me so many lessons. I'd like to move on. And my birthday is June 30th, so it always feels like a nice halfway point. So maybe I'll do some kind of ceremonial something and say, okay, now this is the lesson for the next 6 months. I love that you're at the week to week. I'm aspiring to get there.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's like can happen where it's like, I feel like it's been a year and it's been 7 minutes. What happened? And that's what happens with the quantum energy healing work. All of a sudden you're like, oh, it's like a portal, which is really fun. I love that your birthday is June 30th. I love celebrating half Christmas. So that's like half Christmas right there, almost. So
I'm lucky because I'll do like a rejuvenate, like either a massage or one time I got this amazing, there's this like 3-story or 6-story Korean spa in downtown LA, and they do this scrub all over your body. And my friend, she does it on her birthday, and it feels like she's sloughing off all the dead stuff and welcoming in the new energy. Yeah. So maybe I'll do something like that. You're inspiring me.
Yeah, I love the idea of setting the intention with the experience that will absolutely transform what comes from that too, like the releasing of the snake skin type of thing, like the old bird. Love it. Yeah. So let's talk about music with a message. So you've got this incredible business, music with a message. I would love for you to share about, you said, you started it last year. Share with us how that actually came to be. Like, let's reverse engineer it a little bit, because what I think is so beautiful, feels like your passion and purpose, and it always evolves. Like there will probably be another evolution of all of the things, but would you say that this is your deepest purpose right now? And if so, like, how did this actually come to be? Because I think so many people are like, I have this passion and this purpose, but like, how do I start? Where do I build? Like, what does that look like? So I'd love for you to even reverse engineer that from like conception, like the idea, to now where it's at and kind of what it took for you to get to where you are today.
Yeah. I do see my life in these leaps. Like there was the leap into voiceover, and then there was the leap into songwriting, which was a huge one for me. And then the next leap into music with a message, because I had been a songwriter and a singer making these empowering songs. And it was a lot of female empowerment songs. And then it was just one day thinking, oh, I was bullied in middle school and that was a really terrible time. I should probably help kids through that. And suddenly, never had the desire before that moment. I wanted to start speaking in schools and connecting the music to my message of speaking, which was so insane. Again, that had never been there before. And then, thank goodness, I didn't pause to think about it for very long. I just reached out to a couple schools where I already knew students. I offered my services for free for those first couple, and they invited me warmly. I did not know what I was doing. I didn't have like the acronym to building self-confidence like I do now, or methods. I just told a million stories that probably didn't connect. And I was trying to give the kids all of the advice I possibly could at one time, and pretending that my music connected to it. And now, since then, I've written specific songs for music with a message to really drive those points home and get those skills to last in kids' minds longer. But it's just so funny looking back, because if I had paused, if I had thought about it, I would have let fear come in so quickly and not acted, and now our mentors, Jen and Chris, are always saying, start before you're ready. And that was such an antithesis to anything I had ever thought was the right way to do anything in life, because I had heard, be careful what first impression you make, which is fear-based. And so that wasn't helpful advice to me. And acting started this whole train. And then I got in our mastermind group, which is where Christina and I met, and met a lot of entrepreneurs, and was kind of like, what am I doing here? I'm a musician. But then I realized, this is a business. And then I met someone who, Cam F. Awesome, my friend, who changed his name. He was so fantastic. He was very transparent. He had been on the speaker in school path before I was. And he was so open about how he found gold. I mean, everything about his business. And so him being so honest and transparent really helped me understand, oh, this is the way I go if I want to do this. And I do. So I started adopting some of his methods and building this business. And now I have several employees and it's bonkers. It's banana.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I love this. What I'm hearing you say from all of this is you got the ping to create it and then you just did it. You were like, all right, first I'm just going to test the waters. I'm going to do it for free, right? That's when I was starting my passion project. I was just telling people like, hey, look, I'm interested in doing this thing. I signed up to actually work with another coach to witness what that would look like. And then I just was like, I'm just going to message my network and say, hey, I'm doing the thing. And then you can pay me whatever you want. Like that was how I started out. I was like, you can pay me whatever you want. And it was really interesting because it was like, got my first client and it was like, she's like, I'll give you $50 a session. I was like, oh my God, really? You know, like at the time I was like, and so but it was amazing because it was proof that I could get paid doing what I love to do. And so everything was that stepping stone. And I love too that you were mentioning there are people on our path that are on our path for us to witness and say like, and to see, oh, they're kind of doing something that I want to do. What if I tried that on for size? What if I made something like that my own? And they're on our path for a reason. They're giving us, it's like synchronicities. They're meant to give us more information on how to build. And what I'm hearing you say is you just continue to follow that as you were like, okay, now I'm just going to do it. I'm going to see what happens. And then it will build itself. Because if you had waited for it to be perfect, you wouldn't have had all of this experience underneath your belt, right? You wouldn't have had, you know, and that definitely, yeah, you never get there.
It doesn't. Your fear tells you it doesn't. Your fears never let you get there.
Right.
So you have to just do it anyway and then figure it out along the way, which again, antithesis to everything we've ever learned.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is beautiful because one of my questions was going to be like, so for someone that wants to follow their passion and purpose, but has a lot of fear doing it, what advice would you give them? Would it just be, just do it, start before you're ready? Or is there anything else that you would say that really helped with some of the fear? Or maybe there was like, you know, some of the judgment or the criticism in the back of your mind. Like, how did you kind of break through that to follow your passion and purpose?
So many things. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is I have this exercise called the perfect day exercise. And I'm sure you have this or have done something similar. But figuring out, like, from the moment you wake up, what do you want to be doing? Who do you want to be with? Where do you want to be? And it's a question that I don't think enough people ask themselves.
Yes.
And then write that as if it's a journal entry happening today. I woke up this morning with this person in this place, but date it for 6 months from now. And that was a really powerful exercise for me to figure out what I wanted because I hadn't asked myself that until that point. So that's a big thing that I recommend. And then, of course, networking, but like not in the sense that you guys I hate that word. I used to hate that word. I thought it was disingenuous. But I think back to that coffee that I had with Cam. If I hadn't gone, if I had been like, well, I'm just going to be safe and comfortable at home, I wouldn't have opened up my business in that way. I wouldn't have realized my value in that way. And he's still inspiring me. So I'm so thankful to have him as a friend. But it's so easy to just say no. And I'm so guilty of it. I'm always hoping someone will cancel. It's terrible, you know? But I think it's completely natural because as human beings, we want to keep ourselves safe, you know?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And I love too that you broke through when you were thinking about networking because it really is like, how can we give into the space too? It's like when I hear about what you're doing, or I'm hearing about what other people are doing too, I'm like, how can I serve them? How can I support them? So it really becomes this like back and forth thing where it's like so beautiful because it's more co-creation. Like when it's from the heart, it's such a different feeling. And so what I'm hearing you say is like, when I just follow my heart and I lean into the space and I want to give into the space, suddenly that law of reciprocity is coming through and they're supporting me and guiding me in the right direction too. And I think that's what's so empowering about all of that as well is leaning into the people that want to support you, that want to see you win and vice versa. You know, it's really powerful to be surrounded by people that are also up to big things, that desire to support you in ways that, you know, get us to places faster in a really fun way.
Yeah. And also following that jealousy because it feels like a bad emotion, but it's telling you something. I'm not jealous of baseball players. I have zero interest in that field. But when I find someone who's doing something I want and it awakens something in me and it doesn't feel wholly good, that's telling me something. I met this girl and she was playing live music, and watching her, before I became a songwriter 6 years ago, it killed me. That night was one of the worst nights of my life, tossing and turning and just being so mad at the decisions that I had made, which I thought were bad ones. But now I'm not going to label them like that. And they got me, to where I am today. It was really hard to meet that girl. And luckily, that jealousy turned into a fuel to move forward on that same path. And then she became my North Star. I have one of my songs about it now for this upcoming album because she was such a pivotal person in my life to meet.
Yes. Powerful. Yeah, I think there's something so beautiful about recognizing, okay, I've got the human experience of jealousy. How can I kind of flip this on its head and make it work for me? And what I always witness too is the way that I see like this entire life experience is Rumi always says, or Rumi has said before, we're not just a drop of the ocean, we're the entire ocean in one drop. So if the ocean is God, I'm all of God in one drop, and so are you, and so are you, and so are you. So I'm witnessing a version of myself doing what I desire to do and making it happen, making 6, 7, 8 figures, doing the thing that I most desire. That is proof that I can do it.
Yeah.
Right. And it starts to have me flip it on its head where I'm like, oh, I'm no longer thinking that's outside of me. That's a version of me that's doing it. Yeah. And I want to learn from that version of me. Right. Or I want to witness that. So I think that's so powerful, is starting to recognize, like, no matter how the feeling comes through, it's telling a story, and let it tell the story, let it fuel you so that you can build in alignment with your soul, because your soul is speaking to you all the time.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that was a version of me.
Yes.
And I'm kind of still just sitting with them.
It's fine. For sure. For sure. I know. And just letting it marinate, because now when I see, people that are doing the thing that I want to do, I'm like, yes, let's go. Like, you just made a 6-figure launch in a day. Like, let's go. That's possible. And I'm just like, oh, okay, success leaves clues. I'm going to start to follow what those clues are. And so it can be so empowering when we use it to build versus destroy.
Yeah. And I think there are so many people who are maybe afraid to show their successes, or they think that maybe it will make other people feel badly, and I've definitely been that person. And then most recently, I shared, hey guys, I'm having my highest figure month, maybe ever, in August. And I at first thought, well, I don't want to make other people feel badly. But then I thought, no, I should show them that it really is possible, because I didn't see it until I saw it, and now I'm living it. And that's so important.
Yeah. And what do you think contributed to you having that highest cash month? Because that there's always like behind the scenes work that's going on. It's not just like, it's usually not like, here you go, like the one hit wonder. Like, there's, especially if you're in this emotional intelligence space, you're investing in yourself, you're really leaning into different ways of healing and all the stuff that goes into it. What do you think contributed to you having that highest cash month that you've had?
Yeah, well, Christina Deering, working with you, because I was being coached by Christina. Well, I approached you and was like, I don't know what it was, but something you said or something you showed. And I said, can we work together for a bit? Because I'm working on this money noise, as I call it, or a scarcity mindset, as some call it too. And I never realized that that would be the lesson that I was supposed to learn last year from starting this business. I didn't realize what an issue it was in my life, but like, tipping $2 extra was a contention point one time between my husband and I when we went and like ordered food from a counter. I was just like, you don't tip 20% on a counter, big deal, And I let that be such a hindrance to my own abundance. But you asked, what kind of fixed it? I decided to work on it. I really put effort, and I'm still working on it. But I really started to go to coaches like Christina, I have a friend who does subconscious reprogramming. And so now I have a recording that I listen to every night. So that's been very helpful. And I'm working on it in a million different ways.
Yeah.
Books and classes and working with coaches in this way, because I need to fix it. It's, impeding my life and my growth, and I'm done with it. So it's so many things, like making the decision and deciding to work on it and deciding to be done.
Yeah. So powerful. We like what I'm hearing you say too is you noticed it, and then you went on a journey to like self-exploration, because it's going to be different for everyone. What lands for you will be different for someone else, that's different from someone else. But what you're doing is you're following, again, those little puzzle pieces that all work together. And then you're noticing, well, I've tried to like jam this puzzle piece in, and actually this one doesn't really feel good. The old coding that we get from like parents or teachers or whatever that is. And then we're peeling that back and saying, let me actually see what would divinely fit here. And then when that drops in, it's like we start to feel whole, and we're embodying that and operating from that system, versus like this kind of jig-jaggedy put together where not right or wrong, but it just doesn't feel as good in our body. And so what I'm witnessing you say is like, because of the practices and the information I've been pulling together, the ones that fit better, that felt better, those are the ones I'm operating from now. So there's something to be said about when we notice things, perfect, the $2 tip, right? What a beautiful mirror to be a catalyst to, now I get to have my highest cash month ever because I chose to actually lean in and unpack that. Like, so amazing. I just really want to acknowledge you for that, like leaning into our triggers and better understanding. It's not the trigger, there's something underneath it. Let me understand what's underneath it. And start to feel that.
Yeah, I think it's so surprising in life when we realize that the issues that are there for us are not necessarily there for other people. You know, like I'll have conversations about receiving gifts or money, and other people be like, I never had that issue. And I'm just like, what?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. I think sometimes you think that things are just natural to being a human, but they don't have to. You don't have to struggle. You don't have to be dealing with these things, and it is fixable, and there are people who can help you fix it. And I think that choice is so powerful, to not struggle anymore. And I'm not going to say, you know, every day is going to be perfect and happy, but I think you know when you're struggling a little too much with something and when you don't have to be.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, just leaning into the spaces that have us kind of wake up to our divineness. Because it's funny, it's like when we're born out of the womb, we're like, of course someone's gonna wipe my butt, right? Of course I'll be fed. Like there's no question about it, but we haven't done anything at all besides just come out of the womb, right? And it's like, and then we collect all the stories. And so it's more of like, one of my mentors says it's a subtraction problem versus like anything else. Like it's just coming back to our divineness. Like I don't have to do more to receive what I'm innately worthy of receiving. So I think that's so powerful. Is like, you're just getting more and more evidence that like, that story is not mine. Let me release it from my operating system.
I don't have to do more in order to receive what I'm innately
worthy.
Yeah,
absolutely. You think about your baby, the baby that's on his way right now. You're not like, you need to do more if you want milk, you know, like you're like, no, wait, like, of course you get to be fed. Of course you get to change. Like, of course, you're so worthy of everything you desire. You just witness this angel on earth, and you know how innately worthy they are. And it's starting to recognize like, well, wait, me too, right? Like if this baby hasn't done anything besides come out of the womb and poop in my hands, like, of course I'm worthy, you know? Like, yeah.
Like, you know, the question I've kind of always had with what balance of hard work and receiving do I strike? Because I joked recently, like it's like that quote from Mean Girls, I'm a pusher, I'm a worker, I'm a doer. Like I'm working on, I could say I'm not good at, but I'm choosing to change my language. I am working on being better at resting and trusting. And like I said, my words for this year are trust and faith. And so that was a big question of mine. Like, okay, so what percentage? How do I know when I can relax and receive and when I should be working hard? Because it's a combination of both, right?
Yes.
And that's a balance I'm still working on.
Yeah. There is so much power in pausing. And I'll tell you, because the thing that I've witnessed so much in our like collective energy is, let me just run, let me push harder, let me keep going. And people get to the destination and then they're like, shit, I'm on the wrong road, or I'm on the wrong path. So those moments when we're coming back in to take a minute to pause, the goal is to not talk shit to ourselves when we're in the moment of pause. The goal is to say, let me connect to whether or not I feel like I'm in alignment. Let me take a minute and just notice where I'm at so that I can reorient and better understand, is this the path that I desire to move on? Or is there a flashing red light over here that's actually telling me to go this way instead of that way?
Yes.
So when we pause, it allows us to get into alignment and take inspired action versus just action. Because so many of us are just taking action and we're like, why is this the long road? Why is this not getting me there? It's like, because you're just taking action and you're just taking away all of your life force energy versus pausing to say, what feels juiciest right now? Let me follow what feels like it's going to light me up the most, because there might actually be someone here at this event that I'm supposed to go to, even though it doesn't line up with my to-do list. And then that ends up being a catalyst, some sort of miracle that catapults you forward, that had you not paused and taken a minute to reflect on what felt juiciest to do in the moment, you wouldn't have known to do the event and to have receive the miracle. You would have just kept pushing forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so funny because I have all the evidence. Like so many times when I have paused or when I have taken out time to play with my daughter instead of, doing the entrepreneur during the day thing, because often I wake up and I feel like from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep, I'm working. I have gotten evidence in those pauses from the universe, from whatever you believe in, to say, here's a little gift. Like, you're not even pushing for this, but, I got a call from my agent saying I had this voiceover job and I booked it just because I walked away to stare at the water. And so, you can believe it or not, but I believe that it's because I am pausing and it's trying to give me these little gifts and showing me you can calm down.
Yeah. Yeah. Because so much of what we do, like what you were speaking into too, is about like what we think is the goal is not actually the goal. It's how does that goal make me feel, and follow the things that have me feel that way. So if I believe that having 6, 7, 8 figures in my business is going to bring me peace and joy, where else am I experiencing that? With my, as you were just saying, when I'm with my daughter, now my vibration is higher. I'm already at that vibrational level of receiving. And of course I'm getting a call from this person to tell me I got the job, right? Because I'm in the vibrational essence of receiving the thing that I actually want, which is more peace, which is more love, which is more presence, or whatever it is. And that's the thing that gets us in alignment with what we actually want, that feeling, versus what we think we want. So we're just chasing that thing. And it's like, wait a minute, that's not even what I'm going for. I'm going for peace and love. And I can find it in more than just my business. I can find it here and here and here. And because of that, I'm actually manifesting at a higher frequency everywhere I am.
Yeah. It's like, but it almost makes me wonder, can I follow that all the time? And I wonder what your answer is to that, because my fear voice is like, well, you can't follow that all the time, because then what are you going to do? You're just going to be at the beach every day? But my natural inclinations are not to do that. I also love working. And so I'll take inspired action and I'll say, ooh, you know what? I didn't think to reach out to that person to, ask them that question. And that's when I work in that way. So it's not like I'm never going to be that person who's just laying around. It's just not the way. Yeah. Where you are on the scale, and some people might be listening to this thinking, oh, I do need to lean in a little more and push, but not push, but take more inspired action. Right. And then other people might be listening to this thinking, yeah, I could use slow down. Right.
Yeah. It's going to be individual to everyone, because some people may be laying back because they don't like what they're doing. So that's actually a beautiful mirror to say, I hate my job. Of course, all I want to do is lay on the beach. That's how I felt when I was in corporate. I was like, I would rather like jump off a cliff than open my laptop right now, and I was like, that's a problem, so it was like, there was such a different energy there. So of course I wanted, unlimited PTO days because I needed to take a step away from it. Or there's the person that may be laying back that's like, I'm just scared to move forward. That's a different energy. And so it's noticing, okay, the reason I'm not moving is because I'm scared. Well, let's clear that. But what I'm hearing you say is, I love to be at the beach and relax. And I also love my job. So you do have the blend of both. You know that you're going to show up for your job. You know that you're going to follow your passion and purpose, but you're not meant to just work. You're meant to also enjoy the things that you love and to actually enjoy what you're doing for a living too.
Yeah, and not feel guilt while we're doing it, right? Like that's been such a big word in my life. I mean, I feel guilt so much, so often. I'm working through it and trying not to. But when I take time with my daughter, I feel guilt. When I don't take time with my daughter, I feel guilt. So it's just like, are you just never going to feel good? Okay, let's work on that, because you want to feel good and you don't want to feel guilt. And you can't feel guilt in both places, then you're never happy. So,
yeah. So David R. Hawkins has this, it's called the map of consciousness, and guilt and shame. It basically has a vibration attached to emotion. Have you seen it before?
Yeah, you showed it to me. Yes.
Yes, amazing. Yeah. So that is always a thing that when I notice, one, if I notice the guilt and shame showing up, I'll start to lean in and say, why is this actually here? It's not this, it's something deeper. It's always something deeper. But
Right.
for those that haven't, that are listening in, that are like, what is this that she's talking about? So David R. Hawkins has this map of consciousness that says these emotions have a certain vibration attached to it. So guilt and shame that we love to play in for some reason as a collective are at the lowest frequency, which means you're literally not at the manifestation vibration to call in what you want, no matter what you're doing. So if you're feeling guilty or in shame about something, you're blocking the thing that you desire. So it's starting to say, like, what if I actually chose into neutrality about this first? What would make this feel more neutral? What if I actually chose into really enjoying this now? Now I'm at a higher frequency when I'm with my daughter and simultaneously manifesting what I want because my vibration is higher, exactly as you mentioned. Then you get the phone call that says, hey, you just got a job and you've literally been playing with your daughter. So I love Caley's example for those that are tuning in of how that actually works is when you're playing in the frequency that feels good, of course you're attracting what it is that you desire.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so incredible. And it like, yeah, you set the stage and you work hard, quote unquote. I'm like not even wanting to say that. But yeah, then you walk away and you have your fathers and you get those gifts, and like I'm doing 22 school assemblies in August and it feels like that came out of nowhere. If
Yeah.
that's what it often feels like, right? But
Yeah.
you have been doing the inspired action behind the scenes and I almost wanted to say being good, but that's my old programming. You have been, how would I say that? You have been taking inspired action and following your passion. But it's funny because this new book that I'm reading, Wealth Habits by Candy, and I can't think of her last name, she had this whole thing yesterday, and you mentioned something earlier that I wanted to bring this up about. And her advice was don't follow your passion and think you can make a career out of it. And it made me very sad reading these passages because then I thought, okay, maybe I'm one of the lucky ones and that's it. And, we can't address that book because that's not what we're talking about. But I think maybe some people are happier that way. And maybe some people are happier not following their passions and doing it as a hobby. My husband's trying to figure that out right now. But yeah, you mentioned something about that. And I was like, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't encourage people to follow their passions. Maybe it's too much pressure. I don't want to put pressure on people. And if they're not there yet, I don't want them to feel stunted or pressured, Does that make sense?
Yeah. So what's coming to mind is we were given these gifts to give them away. So it feels like a little bit of an outdated approach. Like what I'm hearing you say from what was written there is that you can't make money doing what you love. We're meant to make money doing what we love. What lights us up. Yeah. And this is your intuition speaking to you saying that doesn't feel good in my body. Therefore, it's not your truth. Not right, not wrong. There can be two truths at once. And so what you were recognizing was that doesn't really feel like my divine truth because I'm literally doing that. I'm making money doing what I love. We're given these gifts to give them away, to be paid abundantly for them so that we can pay others abundantly for their gifts. And so it becomes this beautiful ecosystem of like, oh my God, I have all the vitality I need to build an alignment because I love this so much. And no one can do it the way that I can because I'm unique. I have this unique soul blueprint that makes what I do and the way that I do it completely different from the way that someone else could do that too.
Yeah.
And so I would say the complete opposite, which is follow what lights you up. It's meant to be almost like a guide for what you came here to impact humanity doing, and that you can absolutely make money doing that. And we're both living that and living proof of that because that was my old story too. I'm either going, because I wanted to be a singer when I grew up. So I was like, I'm either going to be a singer and not make any money, or I'm going to be whatever else I decided I would be, a teacher, right? And like not make money, but like be happy. And so now it's kind of funny because I'm like, well, wait, I'm doing what I love. I'm teaching in a really powerful way. I'm also singing because some of the ways that I heal is through my voice. I have a podcast. I have the, so these were all breadcrumbs to what was most meant to light me up so that I could bring light back into the collective too.
Absolutely. And you might not know it until you get to year, 30 or 40, whatever. And that's fine that we change our desires and our path along the way. And you said give it away. You're not mean giving it away for free. I want to clarify that, right? What do you
Correct.
mean by give it away?
Like, I just mean when we receive a gift, we're not meant to have it die within us, right? Like, we have this incredible gift of like your voice singing. I love singing too. I love teaching, all these things. It's not meant to die in a shoebox or die within us. We're meant to give it back into the collective. But in order for someone to really be able to receive it the way that their soul can receive it from the deepest level, there has to be an energetic exchange there. Because then that allows you to show up with both feet and really serve with your gift. And then they are stepping in with both feet and really receiving your gift. And so the energetic exchange is needed for it to really deeply impact them the way that they can, and for you to deeply show up the way that your soul most desires.
I appreciate that clarification for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. I appreciate that.
Of course. So I would love to know, how does someone create more self-esteem and empowerment? You think about music with a message, you're helping, everyone that's in that room, children, teachers, all the people that are there, you're helping them create more self-esteem and empowerment. You talked about maybe even having like these different ways that you teach that. I'd love to know, how do you teach that? What have you noticed really, really does help for creating more self-esteem and more empowerment?
So many different things, but yes, I think it first comes with observing our thoughts. And so depending on the age group, because I bring this assembly to elementary, middle, and high school, the older kids, I'll have them do kind of a meditation and start to notice the pause in between their thoughts, because so often we think that the monologue that's going on in our mind is who we are. So it's not the case. From, who is it, Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now, I observe this exercise where, and I have the students go through this, you will close your eyes and observe what thoughts come in. And I tell them just to gently start to hit pause and try to observe the tiny bit of space that is in between those thoughts, because it's there and it exists. And you can make that space wider and wider. But at first, you don't think that space exists. You think that you are those voices. And so then, my program initially was conceived because I was a kid who was bullied. I thought about being a girl going through middle school, not having self-confidence, and being someone who had been bullied and not having the tools to get through that experience, because I had to learn how to build self-confidence on my own. I thought that it was an inherent trait that the cool, pretty girl across from me in French class had just because she was blonde and pretty. And who knows what her own experience was, but it's something that you can learn and build. And so doing exercises like that, realizing that we are not our thoughts, realizing that we can observe our thoughts and then change our thoughts, learn new thoughts, and not believe what the bully has said to us about ourselves, I think is really the key first step, because so much of our thoughts going on in there are actually programs from the outside world. And it's not our fault, but it is our responsibility to change it. And so, when someone undergoes trauma at any age, bullying or, later in life, you can really start to believe those thoughts and start to inform who you are around it. And I think it's a dangerous place as parents too, because as soon as someone says you're good at this or you are this, I was told I wasn't good with money. I was told I was a great singer. Whether those things were true or not, it didn't matter. It informed my sense of self. And so it's, as a parent, it's a delicate situation, because you're like, okay, I've got to be careful what I talk to her about and tell her about herself. And for better or worse, that's going to inform who she is. That was a lot. A lot to say.
I love this. What I'm hearing you say from this too, though, that's really powerful is this is not just going to work for maybe someone bullying you outside of you, right? This is going to work at all ages, but also the inner bully. Can you pause that dialogue for a minute, create a little bit more space and say, like, is that actually true? Maybe, maybe not. What's also true? Like, is that based in fear or love?
Yeah.
Right. And then usually the first one is based in fear. What's also true here? And what's the one that's based in love? And that really creates the spaciousness to be like, okay, this can be true over here, but this one feels better in my body. Why don't I try that one on for size today and see how I show up differently? So I think that's so powerful. Caley, thank you so much. This was amazing. I would love to know, as we dig in. So you are creating a new album, crowdfunding for this. I would love to know, what is this new album? How is this going to impact people that are listening to it? What's the goal of the album? Tell us a little bit more about that so that we can support you in this mission.
Thank you. I'm really, really excited about this. I'm creating an album this summer very soon, and I'm crowdfunding for it, which has been another journey that I'm trying to get comfortable with, of course. But I have created these songs that they've just kind of stuck with me over the years, and I haven't made them because honestly, I was making things that I thought would be commercially viable and successful for a while. And now I'm just like, no, I want to show my whole heart as an artist. And I've done it, but I'm really doing it now. And it feels so expansive in the best of ways and so freeing. And so there's songs that are about loss and also about inspiration. So one of them is like definitely a music with a message song. It's called Brave Ones. It addresses myself being bullied, and it gives a message for anyone who's ever felt that way and encourages them to be one of the brave ones. So I've heard audiences sing those words back to me, and it's so beautiful. And I'm really excited to make a recording of that. And then other ones about, I lost one of my best friends during COVID. So I have a song about loss, and I have a lot of death I'm working on. I'm improving my death anxiety. So I have some songs about that. And I'm just excited for them to find the people that they're meant to be found by and heal.
So powerful. These songs are truly music with a message. I mean, it's the depths of your soul being, allowing yourself to just be witness to your own artistry and then sharing that with the world. Again, it's our gifts, and we're meant to give them back away to humanity. People are meant to experience the beauty of our gifts that we uniquely came here to do. So Caley, thank you so much. We're going to drop the link below in the show notes for anyone who's like, oh, this sounds juicy. I want to be a part of the creation of this. Absolutely drop down there. And for anyone who wants to just connect with you more, where are you hanging out? Where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm on all the socials at Caley Rose, C-A-L-E-Y, roses in the flower. C-A-L-E-Y, roses in the flower. Because people hear Caley and they think K. Nope, C. And it's on TikTok, Caley Rose Music, because I couldn't get that Caley Rose there. But I'm going live every day performing music to try to help inspire and empower and heal. So you can find me all the places.
Love it. Caley, thank you so much. For everyone that's tuning in, if there was a fan favorite, if there was something that as you were tuning in, you were like, ooh, that really landed with me, please take a screenshot, tag us on social media, maybe tag us on Instagram. My handle is I am Christina Deering. And then you just heard hers as well. We would love to hear your biggest takeaways. That helps us create content that's in alignment with you. So anything that you were like, ooh, I like expand on this, we love that. So absolutely tag us. We'll reshare it to our social platforms. And we're just so eternally grateful for you spending your most precious resource with us, your time. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And until next time.